Hey, we're live! Yay! Okay. So welcome to Feelings with the Geekiary. I am Tara, along with fellow Geekiary members, Admin Angel, Bekah, Farid, and I think that's it for tonight. But I'm excited to send this year out with some of my most beloved people. So we are fans, we have feelings, and this is where we webcast about them.
All right, so just a friendly reminder that this is also a podcast, so please subscribe to iTunes so you don't miss any of those feelings. And if you are listening to this as a podcast, that this is recorded live, so we're not exactly sure what's going to happen. Please forgive us any technical difficulties or accidental swears. Sorry, although it is called, F2017, so I'm sure there will be plenty of purposeful swears.
Bekah, I'm gonna interrupt you. While we're not talking, can we mute ourselves? Because we've got that feedback thing that happens sometimes, which I hate. So I'm not gonna really be able to mute myself because I think I'm moderating this, but like the rest of us, if we could like mute ourselves when we're not talking. Also, Farid is probably the only one of us who's not going to be experiencing gunshots and fireworks in the background. So there's always that. Sorry, Bekah, go on.
You can join the conversation with the hashtag Geekiary feelings. Come on, how will we know if you're wrong if you don't tell us?
We would like to remind all of you that the views expressed on this webcast are those of the hosts as individuals and do not necessarily represent the Geekiary or the webcast itself as a whole. So this is going to be a little different from our usual webcast stuff. We do have like some little end of year news things, I'm sure. The majority of the news that we talk about on our webcast can also be viewed on the news page of our website, which is thegeekiary.com/category/news. But like end of the year, there were some pretty, interesting things that happened. And I know one of them is that The Last Jedi, despite the hatred it has received in online channels, has reached the $1 billion mark, or it's almost reached the 1 billion mark. Farid, you wrote the article, so you know better than I do.
Yeah, it has like moved on forward from the 1 million mark now, 1 billion mark.
Yeah.
And it is estimated to like do better business than Rogue One. So it'll have higher numbers.
I mean,
which is
go ahead.
Quite good, because apparently the audience score is still stuck at somewhere around 52 to 53%, because people were hating this movie with vigor online. But yeah, this success proves that Rotten Tomatoes don't necessarily mean much when it comes to judging a film. So if you guys want to go watch something, even if it has a bad audience score, go watch it. You'll probably end up enjoying it.
I agree. And honestly, I'll say, if you have not watched our Feelings webcast, oh my God, the fireworks. If you have not watched our Feelings webcast about The Last Jedi, please do. If you go to the youtube.com/user/the Geekiary, you can find it. It's one of the last few videos that we did. You can also go to our Feelings playlist, and I'm sure it's on there. And if it's not on iTunes as a podcast episode yet, it will hopefully be there soon. When we do these webcasts, I will say it takes us a little bit longer to get them set up as podcasts because we have to download them and then separate the audio and then re-upload it, blah, blah, blah. It's a huge pain in the ass. So if it's not on iTunes yet, it will be soon. But yeah, you should definitely watch that. And I'm sure we'll also share that on the Twitter again tonight, just for shits and giggles. The only other newsy thing I think that's really pertinent right now is that Black Mirror, the new season 4, was released late, like Thursday at like 3 a.m. or whatever Eastern time. So that was released, and I know a lot of my friends have been watching. And Stephanie, I know you watched it. Or some of it, right?
Oh my God, I watched the whole thing, and it was amazing. And my favorite episode is the last one. So I'm not going to spoil anything, but yeah, I watched the whole thing Friday night and Saturday morning. And yeah, you know, we had been getting trailers for a few weeks. I'm sorry, the dogs are barking because of all the fireworks. So you're going to hear bark, bark, bark every time I'm live. But anyway, we had been getting trailers for several weeks. And then I woke up on Friday morning and suddenly the entire season had dropped. Like, they Beyonce'd us. They never told us, like, when it was coming out. And then they just dropped the whole season, like, without warning. But yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah, I've... Is my mic on? No. Okay, sorry. I've watched through episode 4 and that was all last night. Like, yeah, no, because we finished The Crown on Friday night, and then we watched the first 4 episodes. And actually, we'd never watched the last episode of season 3, which was this episode about bees that was really dumb. Like, it was so predictable and stupid. And like, to be fair, it wasn't as bad as the pig fucking episode, but it wasn't a great Black Mirror. I keep wanting to say Black Milk. That's a clothing line. I swear it is actually a thing. So we had watched we watched 4 episodes of it last night, and so far I like the 4th episode, which is called "Hang the DJ," which is also a song by the Smiths. And it sucks that Morrissey is such an awful person, because like the Smiths as a band are pretty great. I love their music. It's like depressing and beautiful all at once. But yeah, so far my favorite episode is "Hang the DJ," but I am definitely looking forward to watching those last 2 episodes. So yeah, if you didn't know, somehow you missed on Facebook and Twitter that Black Mirror season 4 was released. It was. And I feel like one of my friends mentioned a couple days before it was being released that it was coming out on Friday. And I was like, how did they know this? Are they sure? I haven't heard anything. Honestly, I think it was a friend of mine who's in the industry who maybe have had like an inside channel or something, but I didn't want to, I didn't believe it until I actually saw it for my, God damn it, the fireworks, saw it for myself. So, Farid or Bekah, do you guys watch Black Mirror at all?
I want to watch it. I haven't yet. I'll probably binge watch it after I'm done with Crown season 2. The Crown season 2 only. I'm just like 2 more episodes, and after that I'll like binge watch all of the seasons of Black Mirror, because that's on my watch list.
You can skip the very first episode of season 1. Trust me on that. And honestly, I just would skip it because it's awful.
I mean, I haven't seen it. I've been told not to watch it for certain reasons. So I'm not exactly sure. I don't know. Like, I need somebody to like watch it and explain to me like you should skip this part and this part in this episode. No, I haven't seen Black Mirror. I've heard a lot about it. It's in my queue. I don't know. Would it bother me, Tara? It would bother me? Okay. Great. All right, that's awesome. So I don't know if I'll be watching it anytime soon. We'll see.
I mean, like, honestly, it will bother a lot of people. It bothers me. I started watching, when I first started watching Black Mirror, it wasn't that long ago. When I started watching it, the first 3 seasons were already released, and I'd been hearing about it, but I was putting it off and putting it off and putting it off. And like, I'm glad I watched it, but it's definitely hard to watch. I'll see, Bekah, for your sake, I'll try to think back and see if there are any episodes that are particularly like triggering, because to be honest, that you don't need to watch any one episode of it at all. Like every single one is like a standalone kind of mini movie. So there are definitely ones you can skip, which is nice.
Are they like Sherlock length, or are they like an hour and a half episodes, or are they just like an hour episodes?
Some of them, they're varying lengths. Some of them are an hour and a half or so, and some of them are shorter. But yeah, you can. I'll go through and pick and choose and see if there's ones. And honestly, that may be a good article for us to write, is like, which Black Mirror episodes can you watch based on what triggers you?
I would highly recommend San Junipero of any and all. Yes. Like, that one of all episodes is by far my favorite. So
I'm pretty sure that's like any person who's not straight's favorite episode, or just any person who's not a total asshole's favorite episode. you know? And of course, I apologize, by the way, you guys, my typing is going to be as I'm like, I like to be in the chat as most of us do, and live tweeting as we do this. So if you hear me clacking away, it is because I am on Twitter. And I want to be like, who else has like started watching Black Mirror? And I'm like, oh, you can hear literally every single thing I do with this new mic. Okay. So moving on from, gosh darn it. Moving on from news, so for discussion, we wanted to do some worst of 2017 and best of 2017, along with some, you know, along with some other, you know, like what were some movies and TV shows that we loved this year that or didn't love this year. So while I like kind of do some tweeting and stuff, you guys want to talk about some of the worst of 2017 because there's a lot. Fuck this year.
Yeah, it was such a long list. I had to like stop myself from writing too much. But yeah, a lot of things happened. So the first thing that I would like to talk about is the sexual harassment thing going on in Hollywood, because we heard about it a lot over here as well. During the headlines in the news coverage over in Pakistan, we would like get these little headlines about this is the new person who got, you know, got caught up in the sexual allegation, and this is the new person. And then the Kevin Spacey one was the biggest because there are a lot of House of Cards fans over here. So that was the biggest. Even my brother was like, Kevin Spacey, why would he do that? And I'm like, I don't know why he would do that, but he did. But yeah, it was the worst thing for of 2017 for me. But it's also a good thing because hopefully Hollywood will like decide to make some changes. Hopefully.
Yeah, so this one was really painful. Seeing a lot of actors and actresses that we really like come out with their own personal stories. Anthony Rapp, which is the one that took Kevin Spacey down, was very personal because I've idolized him for a long time. I'm a Rent fan. Rent got me through my teenage years. And now he's on Star Trek, so I personally have idolized him for decades. And then Evan Rachel Wood, like I adore her, and having her come out with her own stories and like living through these experiences has caused thousands of women and, you know, people in general, because it's happening to men too, to like relive their experiences and like have PTSD like from it. But the thing is, a lot of people are there's a good side to it because a lot of people are coming together and supporting each other, and people are realizing how many people have their stories, like how many of us have gone through it, like, and that it's not good. Like, I hate using the word good, but there's a weird sense of community. I don't know how to phrase it. I really don't know a good way to phrase it. Support maybe is a word to use. There you go. Support.
Yeah. I will say, it's, I personally didn't take part in like, I didn't do a hashtag #MeToo post or anything, not because I had a problem with it by any means. I've been really open in the past about a lot of issues I've had, and I've been really fucking lucky. I've never dealt with I've dealt with some, like, you know, sexual discrimination at work, in that, you know, oh, you're a woman, and especially you're young, or you're a young woman, so you can't possibly know what you're doing. So I've dealt with it in that respect, but I've never actually been sexually harassed at work, which I'm so lucky for. But I have in the past been really, really open about the fact that I was sexually assaulted at 19. And I mean, I was you know, a trigger warning, I'm sorry, but I was date raped by a person I'd actually known for several months. And I was drugged and date raped. And, you know, and then on top of that, like, I have also dealt with abusive relationships, like physically and mentally and emotionally and verbally. So it was a really, you know, like Stephanie said, it's one of those things where so many people were coming forward about this stuff, and it was very triggering and brought up a lot of PTSD. I started having nightmares about stuff that I hadn't thought about in years. But at the same time, like I don't regret that people started this movement, and I'm fine with it. I didn't participate in it personally because I feel like I've been vocal enough in my past, and I felt like this was a time for those who hadn't felt that they were able to come forward. And it was really fucking hard for people to say those things. I know it was, because I've been there, and it was hard to see it. Especially people, friends of mine who I haven't known that long or don't know that well, and see them go into detail about what they'd experienced. But like, it was so needed. It was so necessary. And I guess if it was going to happen anytime, I'm glad it happened now, so that we can all hopefully move forward into this new year, and not have this like just kind of weighing on our minds, but be hopefully more willing to come forward about it.
Small little personal victory for me. Evan Rachel Wood tweeted something, and I tweeted a small snippet of one of my stories to her, and she tweeted a fist bump emoji at me. And it's a one little tiny fist bump emoji from Evan Rachel Wood. I felt so like comforted from a fist bump emoji. I'm like, Evan Rachel Wood just sent me support. Like, it was so much comfort. It's so stupid, but like, support. The word support to me just sums up all the positivity that could come out of this. Like, fist bump emoji, I will treasure you forever. Like, I don't know. It just felt good. Like I was able to tell my story, and I don't know, support. It's important.
And I apologize if there's like weird pauses. It's because I am trying to mute myself, because I think I'm the not only are there more fireworks going off in Florida right now than anywhere else apparently, but also you can hear them more because I'm using like a stupid like really large phallic microphone. I love it, but it picks up every background thing that exists. So yeah, I mean, the Me Too movement has been really rough and everything, and I'm so glad that it's happened. But do we have anything else we want to say about it before we move on to other things? Because there was a lot of shit that happened this year. So
I mean, I know that the Me Too movement had me, and I got a chance to. This is having to do with the workplace harassment and celebrity things. I got a chance to talk to an actor from a show that I really like, and he told me a story about how he was assaulted. And like, I didn't write about it because, that was like us talking, just like as peers, but I had to call out my own assaulter, because I also was gay raped about 5 years ago. And he is still around, and I had to see him recently. And I just had to start deleting people out of my life that's still associated with him who know what he did. And that really sucked. But I also gained a lot of support from people who now know, and who, they were like, oh, we don't want to associate with him. And I was like, cool, that's good. But no, the Me Too movement brought back the anxiety and the nightmares, and just like, there's some points where it was like almost hysterical waking up in the middle of the night. So I mean, yeah, it happened. It brought light on it, but I honestly, like, I really could have lived without it, just because I felt the impact so negatively back in my own life about that. So.
Yeah, I do feel like, after talking about you, that even though the Me Too movement is getting a lot of support from women, like, I still think that men need to step up more. They need to do something about it, because relating to the Hollywood thing, like, there's a whole thing about men deciding to wear black tuxedos to the Oscars for the Me Too campaign. And I'm like, what is that going to do? Like, what were you going to wear otherwise, other than a black tuxedo anyway? Like, it's just weird. I still feel that Hollywood still needs to do a lot, especially the actors over there who know these people who have been, doing all of these such things. Like, Matt Damon knew about Harvey Weinstein, and even the Affleck brothers know about stuff there. They are even involved in some stuff, according to some allegations. So, like, actors need to like do something more instead of wearing just black tuxedos to the Oscars.
Sorry, I was trying to wait until the fireworks stopped. I heard about the black tuxedo thing as well, and I was like, really, we're doing this, okay? Because why? Who doesn't wear black tuxedos to the Oscars? Like I'm serious. I know some people don't. Shoot, I think Evan Rachel Wood wore one to like the Golden Globes or something last year. Was it Golden Globes? Evan Rachel Wood wore one last year at some, or earlier this year. I'm sorry. Earlier this year. Jesus Christ, it's not 2018 yet, y'all. And she looked amazing. But literally, other than that, like, what the hell dude doesn't wear a black tuxedo? It is really rare. So you're wearing what you're normally wearing, and that's somehow going to make a statement. Honestly.
Yeah, that's like the most minimal effort you can put. Like, I'm going to wear a black tuxedo. Makes no sense.
Anyway, so it's everybody else at the Oscars.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe if all the women wore black tuxedos.
Or maybe if only the women showed up to the Oscars and all.
Yes, I like that idea. We talked about this. I love that idea. I love the idea of there being only like all women Oscars, and there's no like there is a best actor category, and it is 8 women or however. I don't know what the max is. Is it maybe it's 5 per category? I'm not great with the Oscars, but whatever the max is per category, instead of it being best actor and best actress, it's best actor, and they're all women. And then like one of them gets chosen, but still like more women get nominated because it's all women. Just saying, that would be an idea. It'll never happen. So the other thing Farid had pointed out was for worst of 2017 nominations is the term SJW being thrown around.
Yeah, I mean, in the 2017, any internet discussion you go to, like one of the person is like presenting actual facts about why they have a problem with someone or why they are criticizing something, and the offense is always like, you're an SJW, that music is SJW, that film is SJW, that. And I'm like, okay, I'm not going to have a discussion with you. You're a snowflake. You're an SJW.
Oh my God, that's the snowflake thing.
I'm like, oh.
I was actually reading a thread where this person was outed as being a Nazi here in my town, and they were like throwing those terms around, and I was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, I don't know. The fact that they're just, anyway, yeah, so they still exist, folks.
So now's a good time for me to point out that I've been drinking straight from a bottle of wine for this entire episode so far. And it's because I'm about to, for the first time this episode, mention Trump. Because it directly relates. Because it directly relates to the SJW conversation.
How dare you?
And he'll probably come up a few times. But the fact that SJW gets thrown around so much directly relates to the fact that Trump has been elected, in my opinion. He's opened the doors for this type of behavior. And again, this is gonna come up. A lot of these behaviors that we see that are suddenly like becoming more popular is because, oh, look, we have this like in the White House, so suddenly it's okay to behave this way. It's okay to be like, lol, snowflakes, lol, SJWs, because that's the atmosphere we've created now. And now I'm going to take a swig of this bottle of wine.
Speaking of wine, I have to shout out, I am drinking not my usual cheap wine right now. I'm drinking this Radius Cabernet Sauvignon that I got for Christmas. It's from my boyfriend's brother, David. He's amazing. So he is sponsoring Tara's drunkenness for this episode. But no, yeah, and let's be real. The SJW thing has been being thrown around for like a couple years now. I think it's gotten progressively worse, but absolutely, like that just skyrocketed. You know, it went from being a problem in, you know, went from being like an issue in 2015 to like a really big problem in 2016 to just what the fuck is going on? This is obnoxious in 2017. And I absolutely believe it has a lot to do with the political climate. So yeah, I just don't even know what more to say about that, except if you are one of those people who's been throwing that term around, maybe just like think twice before you do. Because let's be real, especially in the circles that we all run in, the chances of the women that you know being what could possibly be categorized as SJWs are like really, really high. And it's the thing is, now you don't even have to be super vocal to be categorized as that. You literally just have to agree with a privileged white male, or like any white male, to have it shoved in your face that you're an SJW. God, I have people that I am friends with on Facebook who I've unfriended or unfollowed because they throw the term, not even SJW, but snowflake around. And that's bothersome, you know. I'm sorry, because I don't want to watch people being raped on television. That makes me a snowflake. So you like people being raped on television then? That's kind of how that's actually something that I saw recently. People, you know, a Facebook friend of mine calling people who, you know, don't want to watch rape on television snowflakes. And it's like, okay, so if you're calling me, who doesn't want to watch that, a snowflake, then you like watching rape on television. And that may not be the case, but for fuck's sake, think about what you're saying. I think that's like the biggest lesson anybody could take from this year, is to think about what you're saying before it leaves your goddamn mouth. That was a lot of swearing.
And it was all punctuated by like fireworks in the background. Like that's just punctuated finger. Think, bam, 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 bam. But thinking for them is really hard. It just is. But I don't know, like, also why is it so bad to want social justice? Like, why is it so bad to want people to be treated nicely? Oh well, like, if wanting people to be treated nicely makes me a bad person, then okay, sure, I'll take it. Whatever. I'm a social justice warrior. I want people to be treated well. All right.
How dare you? How dare you? I feel like you can hear me no matter whether my mic is muted or not, but it sounds better when my mic is not muted. So and leading away from the social justice warrior, and by the way, I don't feel like we should have to clarify that SJW means social justice warrior, but just in case that is what it means. Leading on from the social justice warrior stuff, is just, this year was sickening in terms of blatant racism, and like, I know Farid and Angel especially just had a lot of notes about this in our document. So I'm gonna give this over to you guys. Not that I don't have anything to say, but I shouldn't be the only one talking for this entire webcast. So I'm gonna give this over to you. Blatant racism, go.
Yeah, so the Charlottesville thing, we got the news coverage over here, and the headline was basically like, it was in Urdu, the language here, but it was basically like, look at what white people are doing now.
I mean, kind of accurate. I mean, okay, so one of the things I do when it comes to these types of things, I like to amplify voices. So like, it's a little bit difficult for me to come at this and say a lot because I would rather push voices, but I do want to take a moment to say that one of the voices that I'd like to push, we just lost yesterday. Erica Garner passed away. She was the daughter of Eric Garner. She had a heart attack a couple days ago. 2017 really sucked because it took away one of the biggest voices, one of the biggest activists. For those of you that don't know, Eric Garner was one of the first of many big losses in the Black Lives Matter movement. Of course, not one of the first people that have gone down, but one of the first ones that really sparked the Black Lives Matter movement. And his daughter became a big activist, and it's the daughter that passed away. So, and I like to push a lot of what she had to say and push her voice. And so her loss is pretty big. So, you know, 2017 maybe sucks because that's a pretty big loss. So rest in peace or rest in power for her. So.
Yeah, I heard about it yesterday. How are things over there, like in normal life? Because we only get the news coverage over here, but when you're like talking to someone on the street or something, is there like racism around you guys?
I live in a very different environment because I live in Hawaii, and so I live in the one state that is where it's not a white majority, it's a plurality. There is no race that is a majority, unless you lump all Asia together, like, and then it's a majority Asian. So race relations in my state is very, very different. So I can't really speak firsthand here. So
yeah, I'm kind of in the I'm in a similar boat. I think that this area, Central Florida, is, I honestly don't know what the demographics are. It's maybe like 50% white. It could be slightly white majority, but I doubt it. We have a lot of Haitians. We have a lot of Hispanics, and just generally like every other race. Central Florida is it's very much a melting pot area. Not as much as Hawaii though, but we do have a really good mix here. I don't see it as much in this particular area. Like I will say I'm a member of my neighborhood's Facebook group, and that's been interesting. For the most part, it's I would say like 60% of the time it's okay, and then like every once in a while there's some old dude who's like, oh, you know, somebody will say there was a car driving around that was acting suspicious. They don't say anything about who was in the car. They literally just describe the car. It was, let's say it was a gray sports car. I don't know, you know, I don't know what maker model. I think was the most recent one. It's a gray two-door sports car. Don't know the maker model. Tinted windows, blah, blah, blah. You know, nothing about who was driving it. And like old dude comes in and is like, sounds like the local Hispanics. I'm gonna have my gun out if I ever see that car. And it's like, okay.
The local
There was literally nothing. There was literally nothing in the post other than a description of the car, y'all.
Oh my God.
The person who was saying something about the car, it was the car was clearly, the person driving it was acting weird. They were speeding through areas. They were stopping and slowing down and like kind of creeping on kids who were like walking down the street. And so clearly acting very strange, but like person who made the post couldn't see who was in the car, and there's just, you know, one old dude who's like, sounds like the Hispanics gonna get out my gun if I see that car. It's like, but that is, you know, that's the first time living here. I've lived here about a year, and that's the first time there's been anything like that in this neighborhood. So it's like, I don't see it that much. But then on the other hand, I am still part of a next door neighborhood group from my house back in Greenville, and I hear there's a lot of anti-Black racism that goes on there. So,
well, I happen to am I can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I used to live with Tara-ish for all intents and purposes. And so after the Charlottesville thing, we had a Black Lives Matter rally in downtown Greenville. Well, I live in the Bible Belt, like in the buckle of the Bible Belt. I live in South Carolina. And so we were out there having our the peaceful rally. It wasn't like a screaming match or anything. We all had signs. You know, it was bring down white supremacy, that kind of thing. And these assholes, there's really no other way to describe them other than just like scum. These people drove downtown because they knew where we were. They drove downtown with their you know, their big trucks with the lifts, and they all had Confederate battle flags on the back of it, and they were like driving by and like screaming at us. And then they got stuck at the light, and one of them was not watching where they were going, and they rear-ended another one. And like there's a video of it, and I was just like, ah! Like whenever he hit, like there's like a sound of like glass crunching, and we were like, ah! You see what happens to the races, but no, it is pretty bad here. Not so much right now, but it gets pretty bad, and everywhere in the South, or everywhere, to be honest. But you know, like you would think that Greenville is trying to be more progressive, but then you have these toothless wonders that come crawling out of the hills, and they drive into downtown Greenville on a nice Sunday afternoon and decide to fuck shit up, and we're not here for it. But yeah, so.
Yeah, Greenville is trying so hard to be like progressive, and I hate that there's still that element there. But I think that I moved to Greenville originally in early 2007, and I do think that it has changed for the better in the past decade, and I think that there has been a lot of kind of backwards strides this year. But I also think that there's still, there's an even more vocal majority than there was a couple years ago. So hopefully the racism, I don't know, please just let it not be as bad in 2018. And there were some other things that, you know, and these aren't even racism things, just general other worst of 2017 things. But we're already at like 8:37 and we've talked about a lot of bad shit. So like general worst of 2017, there were a lot of shootings. There was Vegas, there was Texas, there was, there were so many that I lost count. And
San Francisco.
Yeah, and I know Texas and Vegas were the biggest ones, and good fucking riddance to that, and good fucking riddance to 2017 for those. I don't honestly, I think that that'll change anytime soon? Probably not. But can we just not have a year where there's like so many mass shootings? That would be great. Also, thanks white men for propagating those. Good job on you. So I don't want to go into too much detail about that. Also, can we just LOL a bit just for a second? We don't need to have a discussion about this, but LOL a bit about the fact that Taylor Swift said 2017 was the best year ever.
Taylor Swift is so bad at reading the room.
Like, she's the worst.
What's wrong with her?
Reading the Room is probably going to be the name of her new song.
She's gonna listen. She's gonna listen to our webcast and be like, "Those fucking bitches! I'll show them." And then she'll come out and she'll just be like, in her weird space Hitler costume or dominatrix. That's what it was. Sorry, I looked a lot like a fascist. My bad. But she apparently got a cease and desist letter from something. I don't remember what it was, but they were like, "You need to stop looking like a Nazi in your music videos." And she was like, "What?" But there you go. Woo! Taylor Swift. Also, she threw Tom Hiddleston under the bus. Fuck you, Swift. That was mean.
Oh, man. T Swift, you throw Hiddleston under the bus, you have tens of thousands of angry, nerdy fangirls who are ready to attack. Like, that was a mistake, girl.
We will go to war for Hiddleston. We will go to war.
War paint.
War paint. That's what it's going to be. We're going to come for you in the middle of the night, and we're going to sing at you angrily about how you hurt him and ruined our poor angel boy man thing. I
don't know where you're going with that one, Bekah, but cool.
So I had to mute myself because I absolutely had to quote, and I added you, don't worry, Stephanie, that Taylor Swift is really bad at reading the room. So other than that, worst things about 2017, Trump in general, barf. I don't even know who put that in the document, but Trump in general, barf.
It was me.
Yeah, I figured. And let's be real. We've been doing this webcast for 40 minutes. We've talked about a lot of shit. We're going to talk about a little more bad things and then some good things. But I don't even think we need to get into the Trump nonsense. Fuck him. Fuck his face.
Fuck him. Fuck. There you go. That's enough.
Yes, he went on record and said that Pakistan is like deliberately like hiding terrorists and making new terrorists. So we are like going to withdraw funding that we were giving to Pakistan, and we as a country were like, do what you want to do, Trump. We don't really care.
Hold on a second. I got it. Yeah. So Farid, you are public enemy numero uno.
Yeah, so we've got someone from Pakistan on our webcast, so Trump's really gotta hate us. Like,
I'm pretty sure all you have to do is say "fuck Trump" and they immediately start watching you.
NSA is watching our webcast now. We're enemies of the state.
But hey, elections in November of 2018. Hey, assholes in the United States. If you are not registered to vote, get your ass out there and fucking register to vote. And then if you can't get off work, you can vote, oh my God, the word, I'm not finding the term. You can vote from afar. Absentee, thank you. You can vote absentee. That's what I had to do because I hadn't unregistered and re-registered when I moved here, because I literally moved here at the very end of the summer 2016. I voted absentee. So if you can't get out of work, just send for an absentee ballot. Please, please, please. I know that this is not a presidential election, but if we don't take over the House, and I'm not saying Democrats necessarily, I'm saying progressives, liberals in general, if we do not take over the House, we're fucked for a really long time. Like, we're already fucked for next year. If you've not looked at that new tax bill, please do, because I had to, because I run my own business. And guess what's happening next year? I'm fucked. Like, my personal taxes are fucked. My business taxes are fucked. My house, I don't get to write off my house taxes because my house isn't worth $500,000 or more. So if you own like a house that's not worth over $500,000, you're fucked. So you might want to like register to vote if you're not, and you might want to send away for absentee ballots if you can't get off work, or if you can get off work, go fucking vote.
If you're not a millionaire, like, yeah, it's in your best interest to basically oust what's currently there right now. Like, and if you are a millionaire, you should have sympathy for everyone who is not.
But 90% of them don't, so
I know.
It's fine. And then there's the people who aren't millionaires who are just dumb as shit and think that they're actually going to like be that this is actually going to bring good to them, this new bill. I tried to dissuade my family of that over Christmas, but they just don't. Those
are the ones I was referencing earlier that have trouble thinking.
Yeah. Love my family. Don't love the fact that they think that this tax bill is going to help them. Anyway, so barf, puke, Trump is the worst. Register to fucking vote and then actually vote, you assholes. And I hope one of you is tweeting this because I'm not, because I'm too angry. So real quick before we get into best of, and we got plenty of best of, but personal worst. I know we all had some personal worst.
Yay!
My personal worst were nothing. I was without a full-time job for the first half of the year. That's kind of the worst thing that happened to me. But my personal worsts are nothing compared to like y'all's and also just so many other people. So I'm gonna shut up.
So yeah, let me tell you all about 2017. My aunt died. My camera, my $600 camera was stolen. I was passed over for a promotion. I got sick at Comic-Con and had to miss 3 press rooms. I had to move because the person that stole my camera was my roommate. Trump in general. I think that about summarizes it. Oh, website got hacked, but that happens every year. So, I mean, I think that about summarizes it.
I swear to God, it's supernatural, people.
Probably.
I know. Seriously, but before anybody else says their worst of things, like, can we talk about the fact that like supernatural drama got stirred up apparently like yesterday?
So we're getting hate tweets in our mention for a tweet from 3 years ago over some supernatural tweet. We're not even in that fandom anymore, and the supernatural fandom is attacking us for a poll we ran 3 years ago.
A poll.
A poll.
Poll. I didn't even know what it was.
I just went and deleted the tweet because I'm like, we're not in that fandom anymore. You guys can just go shit on yourselves. We're not involved in that anymore. Go wank over there. We're not part of that. We left. We wrote a whole post about how we're leaving. You guys go shit on yourselves. We're done.
Like, I know, and I, having never really been in the supernatural fandom, I was literally just part of the side that was like, yeah, I think we should probably leave, but I am not part of the fandom, so I'm just gonna kind of say this is my opinion, we should leave, but I'm not gonna press it or vote one way or the other. But also, because I am a writer for this website, I have gotten hate from, I've literally had people hate tweet me, and it's been obviously since before we left the fandom. I've had people hate tweet me because they were supernatural fans, and I'm like, I don't even watch this show. So, okay. So yeah, good riddance, supernatural. Okay. So other than that last minute supernatural hate.
Let's see. Bad things. This year just sucked. I was diagnosed with a couple of really shitty illnesses. Another autoimmune disorder. I had to have surgery, which really sucked. And then a couple weeks ago, I was in a really bad car wreck. And 3 weeks ago, actually. And as they were taking me out of my car, the paramedics were like, "You really should not have survived this wreck. We don't know why you're alive." And I was like, "Oh, super." So I had a concussion. I have really bad whiplash. I broke my hand. I am now in physical therapy, soon to be in occupational therapy. I can't work right now. So I honestly just spend, and now, and the guy's insurance is refusing to pay for anything. So we get to go after them for that. Also, DragonCon sucked. It's one of my favorite conventions. It was really awful. Just the usual heartbreak and bullshit. Yep.
And I think, okay, I think that's a good like wrap up. Like 2017 sucked for a lot of people. Unless Farid, you have something you wanted to say. You're good.
I mean, compared to the rest of the people and compared to you guys, my 2017 was like, as Sarah said, I'm gonna shut up about it.
Oh no, yeah, like that's what I'm saying. Like I bitched about the supernatural thing. That happened a while ago. My 2017 compared to most people's was actually not that bad. Like literally the worst thing that happened to me was that I didn't have a full-time job for the first half of it. But I did get a job in June of this year, and then I actually a couple weeks ago my part-time job was moved to a full-time job, and it's great. I work from home. Like I have a legitimate work from home full-time job. I'm not gonna say who it's with or anything. I'm really excited about it, and I think that's a good like lead in to good things. Because I feel bad that we've spent like the past 50 minutes talking about bad things, but we do have good things, like best of 2017. Like literally, like there is so much stuff. So I know that Angel and Farid, you guys, I have a bunch of stuff. I know we're going to talk about some briefly, like best and worst movies and TV shows, but you guys had a lot of best of 2017 things. So go ahead.
We got Wonder Woman, and it was a success.
And speaking of women, it's like a lot of great women things. We got a woman Doctor Who, or woman doctor on Doctor Who finally. So yeah,
I'm finally going to watch Doctor Who because of that. I said like 3 years ago, I will watch Doctor Who when there's a female doctor. So now I'm screwed. in a good way.
So yeah, 2017 was also good for queer representation. Will and Grace came back. It's very anti-Trump and it's still a success. So that's good. And after that, there's a lot of award recognition surrounding queer films. There's Call Me By Your Name, there's Lady Bird, there's The Shape of Water. So yeah, queer representation has had a good year as far as films go
And
for
TV.
2000. Yeah, and TV for
Queer couple
2017.
on Star Trek Discovery, Anthony Rapp.
We'll probably talk about it on your podcast series.
Yes, which I need to start recording.
Yeah. Okay, so the other thing that I would like to talk about is how the world came together to help everyone because of Hurricane Maria. There was Katrina, there was like Irma, there was an earthquake in Mexico. And yeah, it was good to see celebrities and everyone like just coming together and helping people, even though Trump was like, I'm not going to help Puerto Rico because those people can help themselves.
I can't, listen, I cannot attest to anything that happened in the Caribbean or shit even in like Texas because of those hurricanes. I will say Hurricane Irma, it hit Florida, it hit Key West and whatnot a lot, and Miami a lot harder than it hit us up here in Central Florida. But I had neighbors who were without power for 8 days. I got lucky. I didn't have internet or cable for 8 days, but I had power. And it was 95 to 100 degrees out. And my neighborhood, and I mentioned my neighborhood Facebook group earlier, and this is kind of why I hate to hate on it. I hated to hate on it at that point because the neighborhood Facebook group, they helped. Like they were reporting when they reported outages. They reported when they were complaining. They were offering up ice. They were offering up extra generators. I mean, I personally was like, I have extra ice in my fridge. If anybody needs to come here and take a hot shower, if anybody just wants to come hang out in the air conditioning for a couple hours, like, I don't know these people really. Like I've met maybe half a dozen of my neighborhood, neighbors face to face. And just the fact that these people, like 90% of my neighborhood, literally it was me and my immediate neighbor and one other person across the street who didn't lose power for 8 days. But 90% of my neighborhood lost power, and everybody was in that Facebook group. We charged people's phones for them. Like that, they were like, we don't need to come hang out, but like, could you just charge our phone for us? Or could you charge our extra, battery or external battery for us? And it's like, this is not Puerto Rico or even Texas level, but man, it was really nice to see, people who don't know each other at all come together. And we were one of the last neighborhoods in the area that got power back. And fuck Duke Energy, honestly. Again, I got lucky. There was a power line down. It was down. It was blocking an entire road, and it took them 8 days to fix it. That is unnecessary. And the fact that that's like the worst we experienced, and there's still huge sections of Puerto Rico that are out of power and everything, is depressing. But I feel like you said, Farid, I've heard so many good stories that have come out of those hurricanes that it's like, it kind of gives you a little bit of faith in humanity in general. Like, yeah, there's a lot of assholes out there, but I mean, honestly, there are some people in my neighborhood who I'm sure I would not agree with their views on a lot of things, but they still are going to put themselves out there to help other people, even if they're not people they agree with, which I feel like it's got to be some sort of step forward. So yeah, kudos for that, I guess.
Yeah, there's a lot of good in the world, and I really hope we get to see more of it in 2018. And speaking of that, Australia legalized same-sex marriage.
Yeah! Go Australia! I remember
if it-
Vaughn. I'm pretty sure we had one of our webcasts like right after that happened, and Vaughn was still just like over
Yeah,
the moon
yeah.
about it.
Yeah. He
So
was very happy
yes.
on our Facebook page.
Yeah. So yes, go Australia.
And then there's an interesting thing that happened during the NATO summit this year, and we got the coverage as well. And Luxembourg's prime minister, like, he's openly gay, and he took his husband to the NATO summit, and it was the first time that a man was photographed with the rest of the ladies. Like, there was Melania, there was the Turkey's prime minister's wife, and everyone, and there he was.
Yeah, the spouses.
Yeah, the spouses, and there he was. And I was really waiting to see how Pakistan would like cover that news. And they did cover it, but they didn't necessarily mention that he was his husband. So we had this weird image of one guy standing.
But at least they didn't oh my god, I can't talk right now. They didn't like cut him out or anything.
Yeah, like Photoshop him and just like.
Yeah, because the White House did. The White House Facebook did. They put the picture up, but they didn't mention his name.
They left his caption out. Yeah, they just left his name off it.
In case anybody's listening to this as a podcast, I'm barfing. Blech. Blech.
They fixed it later. That like the White House Facebook like page fixed it later, but there's always this on the internet. Yeah, it was fun. Like watching the Pakistani coverage of the whole NATO summit thing. It was very fun. I was like, "Are you guys gonna say that he's his husband? Are you guys gonna say that he's his husband?"
And also, one of the things that you mentioned, Farid, was that a lot of makeup, like a lot of cosmetics companies have finally
that happened. Like Rihanna, like when Rihanna released her Fenty beauty line with over like 40 shades for dark-skinned women, I guess the rest of the cosmetic brands are like following suit. Some people are like saying that they're copying Rihanna, but I'm like, Rihanna did a good thing, so it's good that other people are copying it as well.
Well, like and you also don't want there to only be, as somebody who doesn't know shit about makeup, Bekah, you know way more than I do, but you don't want there to be just one brand out there that has the shades that you need. And I gotta be real, I heard kind of reviews about the Fenty beauty line in terms of how well it lasts and stuff. I heard that it like cracks and feathers a lot, stuff like that. Because I did actually read up on it because I was interested, but I mean, it's like finally.
It's a step in the right direction, and hopefully we will get better products for people who have different skin tones, or darker skin tones. Like maybe
and honestly, how the fuck has it not happened until now? Like I know that there are other that there are makeups out there that make more like colors for different skin tones and everything, but affordable is also a key. And like if you walk into a Target, there really is nothing affordable for people of color to choose from, and that's gross. Like it's stupid. This is 2017, Jesus Christ, it's still 2017. Okay.
Only for us. Farid's in the future. Farid's in 2018.
True story.
True story.
Future man. How is 2018?
Yes, how is 2018 in the future?
I met it's the future. I met the new Doctor Who. She was great. In the future.
Okay. So one other thing we wanted to talk about was, I put this in here because I thought it was a fun thing, is like IMDb published a day or two ago their top 10 movie and TV show lists. And I'm going to read off their top 10 list, but then I want us to give our top 3. I'd like a top 3. I think that would keep it nice and short. If there's a tie or something, that's fine. So like Farid noted that Farid noted in the document that the IMDb list is based on like searches and stuff like that. It's not based on box office numbers or anything. And their order is this is order 1 to 10. And I'm not sure if that's actually like best to worst or whatever, or if it doesn't mean anything. But the IMDb movies were Blade Runner 2049, Thor I haven't seen that. I didn't mean to roll my eyes if you're watching this. Thor Ragnarok, Alien Covenant, Split, Justice League, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, Logan, Beauty and the Beast, Wonder Woman, and It. So Farid, like you said, this is a popularity list. It's movies that were searched the most. A lot of these movies flopped. So if you guys have some like a top 3, I can start because mine's really quick. My top 3 would be Wonder Woman, Guardians of the Galaxy 2, and I said a tie between Thor Ragnarok and The Last Jedi, but I think The Last Jedi edges, now that I've seen The Last Jedi twice, it does edge out Thor Ragnarok just a little bit. So if you guys have some, thoughts.
I think mine would be Last Jedi, Logan. I thought that was really good. And Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
I guess Get Out, because I really didn't see a whole lot of movies. Get Out, what is it? The Last Jedi. Get Out is really good. I'm trying to remember what else came out because I don't really watch the superhero movies. I don't know. I liked Wonder Woman pretty well. I like that a lot too. Yeah.
Anybody else?
Did Farid fall asleep?
I don't think
Farid?
so. I think sometimes his freezes and he has to there he goes. He has to sign out and sign back in again.
He looks like he's resting peacefully.
Yeah. Well, now it's just his books shot. So if you're for some reason listening to this as a podcast, I don't know why you would be. Go look up A Productive You on Amazon, because actually I know that I don't know if Farid wrote it by himself or if he had. Oh,
look, we've got a cat visitor. Yes, host. Cat, what are your top 3 movies of the year?
Marmalade says, I don't like watching movies. I prefer to drink out of only the top quarter of a water cup.
Sorry.
And also crawl all over my mom's computer keyboard when she's
you're
trying
back.
to work.
What are your top films
Yay,
of
Farid,
2017?
top movies of 2017.
I thought you fell asleep because your pictures of you like. So I was like, Farid, wake up.
Okay, so my top 3 would be Wonder Woman and Call Me by Your Name. I get Call Me by Your Name and Logan. I really like these 3 movies this year.
I will say, I think for some reason I missed reading that one of the movies that was the top 10. I gotta look back. Oh, Beauty and the Beast. I can't remember if I read that one. I was reading this list really quick. Beauty and the Beast fucking sucked. Okay? That movie was awful. Did anybody not watch it?
I didn't like it. I didn't.
Look.
I watched it and I didn't like it.
Thank you.
Look.
I didn't watch it at all.
Good. Do not waste 2 hours of your time.
Okay.
It was bad, except for Dan Stevens saying Evermore. That's the only good thing. There's a button in your face, Tara.
Sorry, my cat is purring into
Context for the podcast listeners. There's a button Tara's face, but it belongs to a cat. That's very important context.
No, like, listen, I guess there were some songs or something in that movie that were good. None of them were sung by Emma Watson. That's sad. I like Emma Watson. She's fine. But oh my God, cat, Jesus. Now my cat's stealing my headphone cord. No, Beauty and the Beast was awful. And like Farid said, this is a list of like what was most searched and stuff. So this doesn't mean that the movie was good. I am shocked and appalled at the number of friends I have who liked this movie because I was bored out of my gourd and wish I had not watched it. If you want to watch Beauty and the Beast, just watch the original fucking animated movie because this was the worst. Like the Cinderella movie that they made was not amazing, but it was good. It was its own thing. It actually took some from the animated film and took some from the actual fairy tale, and you know, it not so too much from the actual fairy tale, which is very, very dark. Like they cut their feet off to fit in the slippers. The actual fairy tale is really bad.
And also the crows pecked out the sister's eyes because they escorted her up and down the aisle, and the birds pecked out one eye, and then they pecked out the other one eye on the way back. Like it's a fucked up.
It's a very dark fairy tale. So the movie, it takes like an acceptable amount of like the darkness from the fairy tales and whatever, but like I just hope that the future Disney live action movies, especially Mulan, aren't this bad. Hey, at least they cast actual Chinese people in Mulan. It's amazing.
I do have to say that there is actually a live action Mulan. It was released about 3 years ago. It has Jing Zhao in it. She's been in a bunch of like kung fu movies. She was also in Memoirs of a Geisha. She played Sayuri, and so she's actually plays Mulan. I haven't yet gotten my hands on a copy of that, but I'm looking for it. It's like $39. Yeah, how was it? I'm curious.
It's good. It focuses more on her life as a, in the army. It focuses more on that.
Okay.
Like she spent years in the army.
Because wasn't she a person?
No, I don't think so. I think she was more or less a poem that was hopefully based on a real person. Who knows?
Okay. I was just curious because I saw that Jing Zhao was in it, and I was like, I gotta see it.
Yeah, it really focuses. Yeah, it's great.
No, sorry.
It focuses a lot on her army experience, and it's a good movie.
Okay, cool.
That's good to know. All right, so TV list. So again, this is based on like searches and stuff, not actual quality of television. But the IMDb top 10 lists for TV shows this year were Taboo, The Defenders, this current season of American Horror Story, American Gods, Vikings, Stranger Things, Rick and Morty, The Walking Dead, 13 Reasons Why, and Game of Thrones. I don't know, man. Like, LOL, The Defenders, it was not bad, but it definitely was not top 10. Don't even get me started on The Walking Dead. And if you have not watched the Bitching Dead webcast, like, please do. I'll have to check after this, but hopefully we have a Bitching Dead playlist on the Geekiary YouTube channel. But regardless, at least 3 of the most recent videos for this channel should be our Bitching Dead webcast. We're still working on the schedule for it, as in terms of like when we'll actually be doing episodes, but obviously we'll be doing them once the second half of the season comes out. The show is the worst. I don't think I'm the only one of the 4 of us actually, Stephanie, you don't watch it anymore, do you?
I stopped. Yeah, no, I quit.
I don't blame
y'all
you.
can have fun with that.
I didn't stop because I wasn't ready to not review it anymore. And then like 3 episodes into season 7, which was the last season. I was like, God damn it, why didn't I give up on this? And then I at the end of last season, I was like, I'm done. I'm never reviewing this again by like writing reviews. That's amazing. And then halfway through the first half of season 8, we were like, Bekah and Farid and I were on actually the normal feelings webcast because Vaughn was traveling and sick, and Aaron, had some things going on. So Bekah and Farid joined me for the November episode of Feelings, and we talked for like 30 minutes about The Walking Dead. And then we were like, we could do like a really funny webcast about this. So The Bitching Dead was born, and I'm super glad about it because honestly, it's like, it keeps me watching the show, but I don't have to write about it. I just get to like get drunk and complain about it, which is amazing.
Yeah, I'm the one who writes about it.
No, it feels good to do that sometimes.
And feel free to give up on that anytime. Because
I don't know, I'm watching it feels good sometimes. It's a hate watch. Like
I don't know. I'm kind of enjoying it just a little bit. Like the only reason it's like pure spite. I think that's the reason why I survived the car wreck. Is pure spite. I was like, no, I have to fuck up people's lives a little bit more.
I think that, and honestly, for me, the reason why I was able to power through, especially, really not even not even just season 7, but probably all of season 6 and season 7, I powered through those seasons writing those reviews because of my hatred for the show. And at this point, I had to something had to give, which is why I enjoy like talking about it every other week or so versus writing about it. But yeah, so The Walking Dead being named one of the top 10 shows, and I'm glad it is based on like searches and stuff and not, although to be fair, maybe people do actually think that it was amazing. I don't know. People think Game of Thrones is amazing and it's puke worthy. And Rick and Morty. Rick and Morty. I know. Listen, a lot of people like Game of Thrones. I just don't.
It's okay. People are allowed to have different opinions.
Right. I'm just
about Game of Thrones. I just liked the last season, but for 2 seasons I was hate watching Game of Thrones. But this last season I actually did enjoy it. So I was with you for 2 seasons.
I think I enjoyed. I love it again. I think I enjoyed this last season way more than I enjoyed seasons 5 and 6. So I'm with you on that.
I think we're on the same page.
Yeah. And like Rick and Morty would be up there if the fandom hadn't turned me off it so bad, because Rick and Morty fans, and not all Rick and Morty fans, but a lot of Rick and Morty fans are total assholes because they don't actually understand the point of the show. So like that's why it wouldn't be in maybe my top 10. I doubt it though. American Gods was good, but I think it was underwhelming. Season 1 was underwhelming.
It was Ricky Whittle. You said that.
It was a beautiful show. I just think it was underwhelming.
I'm so glad I'm not the only one because I liked it, but I wasn't as over the moon as I thought I would be. And I'm like a huge Brian Fuller person, and I was so hyped for it.
Yes, same.
And then I watched it, and I'm like, this was good, but it wasn't as amazing. Maybe I overhyped it. Like, maybe I was so in love with Brian Fuller that I was expecting it to be perfect.
Yeah.
But it wasn't.
Yeah.
So maybe that was my fault.
And I guess for me, my top 3 shows are probably iZombie, Stranger Things, and I guess I'm gonna agree with them on Vikings. Vikings is messy at times, but here's the thing. It's always enjoyable to watch, and they really shook shit up in season 5. Like, the first half of season 5 aired late 2016. The second half of season 5 aired earlier this year, and there were some really major things that happened in the like the last episode of the first half of season 5 that people were like, oh no, that didn't really happen. And then it did. And you found out the beginning of this year. And I just, I don't know, man. There's some things I don't like about it. I mean, there was a couple recent episodes where there was definitely some non-consensual sex that was really problematic in my opinion. But like, and there's always the excuse of, oh, it's like Vikings. It's this is what happened back then.
No, it's not. Vikings were no.
It wasn't. It's not. It is sort of historically correct. It's not what you're thinking, and I don't want to get into it and spoil anything, but yeah, I guess for me, there's issues with the show, but when it comes down to it, this show, they really aren't afraid to shake things up. But when they do shake things up, it's for good reasons, and they always turn around and kind of not fix the problem. I don't even know how to word it. Whatever. The show is good. It's in its 5th season. It already, before the 5th season even aired, it was renewed for a 6th. I honestly think that people should watch it. It's not straight up, it's on History Channel, but we all know History Channel isn't legit, really. So, it's not straight up like historical. And it does have some really kind of fantastical elements to it. And the acting is really like surprisingly good. History has 3 scripted TV shows right now, and Vikings is I think the longest running at this point. So I don't know, if you haven't watched it, give it a try.
Nice to see Jonathan Rhys-Meyers still in business.
Oh yeah. He's he was introduced the last episode of season 5, and now he's like a big character. I'm still whatever about his character, but I don't know.
I mean, sarcastic. I don't know anything about the guy. I know that he was during Dracula. I think he finally dried out though. He finally dried out.
In the Tudors.
Alcoholic. Yeah, he was a really heavy alcoholic, and they've had to put him in rehab like a couple times, and yeah, I mean, I was about to say not there's anything wrong with being an alcoholic, but I was like, yeah, there is.
for the most part, Vikings is a lot of kind of lesser or completely unknown actors, which is nice. Like right now, one of the main characters is played by a kid that they plucked out of nowhere, and I saw him on a panel. I saw him on the Vikings panel at Comic-Con this year, and he was really just like grateful, and like the acting is good. I mean, this is like, I can't believe I'm saying this because this is the History Channel. This is like the Aliens guy channel, but it's really good. Like, just watch it, y'all. Also, there's definitely some like, if not outright homosexual relationships, there is absolutely some, kind of I don't even like using that word, like there are definitely relationships that are
not heteronormative.
Yes. Thank you.
Yay. I'm sold. Well, anyway, my top 3, all 3 of my top 3 shows this season are first season shows. My first is Legion, which I spent all of San Diego Comic-Con doing Legion stuff this year. Like basically all of Comic-Con was Legion for me. It's tied to the X-Men universe, but it barely relates to it. Like they use the word mutant, and other than that, like you wouldn't really know. And it's just beautifully done, very artistic. It's just a beautiful show. It's streaming on Hulu now. Go watch it. Stupid dogs, fireworks, everyone shut up. I'm talking about Legion. This is very important. Quiet, everyone. Anyway, that's my number 1 show of the year. Number 2 would be Star Trek Discovery, which I already talked about a lot earlier. And number 3 has not been getting nearly enough hype. Runaways. It's another Marvel TV show. It's an all teenage cast. Also, has a mutants, but they can't say mutants because it started being written before Disney bought Fox, so they didn't own the word mutant yet. But they will own it soon, so maybe they can actually talk about mutants later on down the line. But right now, she's a mutant and she can't really talk about being a mutant yet. But of the main characters, one of them is a lesbian. One of them is like it's just hard. It's hard to describe. It's just very diverse. Oh God, I can't even really explain it. It's just basically, do you want like a super diverse superhero team? Runaways is for you. Farid, you know a lot about Runaways, right? Because you've read the comics.
Yeah,
How would you pitch Runaways to someone who's never seen it? I mean, even I don't know if you watched the TV show, but you read the comics. How would you pitch Runaways?
Oh God.
Right? It's so hard to pitch, but it's just so good. Have you kept up with the show? Have you watched the show yet?
I haven't watched the show because I'm waiting for all of the episodes to come out so I can binge watch it.
You're gonna love it. It's so good.
Yeah, but I am reading the current comic book series. So if you guys have been fans of Runaways, they have a new series out. It's only 4 issues have been released for now, so you can pick it up.
Yeah, I absolutely love Carolina Dean. She's the lesbian character, and I adore her. But she's not the only character. It's just an extremely diverse cast, and I highly recommend it. It's not getting nearly enough hype. So if you want diversity in TV shows, especially in Marvel and superhero type stuff, go watch it right now and support it so that the numbers can get brought up and we can get more diversity in TV shows, because it's not getting nearly enough popularity and we need that. So.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree. I don't know about it or whatever as much as you do, Stephanie, but no, I have been watching it. I'm bad about keeping up with it, so I kind of tend to watch 2 episodes at a time. I'm always 2 weeks behind, but it is really good. There's some cheesy things about it because it's Hulu, it doesn't have the budget that you maybe love, but if people would actually watch it, it could really, a second season with a better budget would be top. It would be better than anything you're going to see on CW.
Yeah, because everyone talks about how they want diversity in the superhero universe, and we got it. We just need people to watch it now.
And I think I almost wonder if part of the problem is that it's about younger kids, because that's kind of my about it. A lot of times the frustrations that I have with it is that I am a little bit far beyond what these kids are doing.
I'm 31 and they're 16, 17. Molly's I think 14.
Oh yeah, the young one.
Really young.
The young one drives me crazy. But it's still a good show. I'm really thinking that I think it didn't hit its stride until the 6th or 7th episode, and I think that if you haven't watched it yet, you should at least give it a try. I mean, for fuck's sake, if you have Hulu, just fucking watch it.
Yeah, I keep trying to get people to watch it, and I keep trying to sell these characters because it's a really character-driven show, and people still kind of are resistant to it because it is based on the characters, and so I introduce the characters to people, and still, for some reason, it's not drawing in people. So I don't know. I don't know why people.
I mean, the comic books weren't even successful as well. The comic books weren't successful. They tried to relaunch it again and again after 2 or 3 years, and people weren't really interested in the comic books either.
And I don't know why, because I'm loving it so much.
Yeah.
I don't know. Ugh.
Okay,
well,
so
anyway, it's one of my top 3.
Okay, so my turn. My top 3 would be there's a show on Netflix called Mindhunter.
Oh my god, yeah, that would be my number 4. Anyway, continue.
Yeah, so it's an amazing show. I wasn't expecting it to be this amazing, but it's an awesome show. It has a lot of language in it, a lot of explicit language. So that's a warning if you aren't into those kind of things. But yeah, one of the funny things was that the main lead is actually an openly gay man who voiced who was it, Sven on Frozen, and
Wait,
watching
you mean,
him act.
not talking about Sven, you mean Kristoff.
Who was it? Yeah, Kristoff on
Sven
Frozen,
is the
and
moose.
watching him. Yeah, sorry. And watching him act straight kind of felt weird when I was watching Mindhunter. But I was like, yeah, I'll go with it. You go kiss this female actress or whatever.
Okay.
Good behavior.
So something happened. Lots of loud noises. Then Farid disappeared. The serial killers and Mindhunters got him. So Mindhunters is about serial killers, and then Farid disappeared.
Yeah.
That actually may be your internet, Stephanie, because I was hearing him just fine.
Oh no!
I'm gonna. Well, actually, if you were hearing loud noises, it may have been fireworks. I'm gonna blame New Year's Eve. All right, so we're reaching an hour and a half here, but so Farid, finish up your list,
Yeah,
and then we gotta get Bekah's.
Okay, so Mindhunter, and then the second would be good behavior. I'll write a recommendation post for it for the Geekiary, so you guys can check that out. And third would be, yeah, Shameless. Again, you guys need to watch that show if you aren't. I love Shameless. I love watching about dysfunctional families.
I think my sister has watched that and liked it, which is odd because normally I don't like the things that she's watched. But if you're suggesting it as well, I might actually have to.
Yeah, there's a lot of queer representation in it. It's awesome.
Which makes it odd that my family has liked it.
Yeah, it's very character driven. Everyone is a mess, and it's fun. It's just overall fun.
Okay, so my three does it have to be shows that aired this year, or can it be just anything in general?
I mean, any show that had a season this year.
Okay,
yeah.
So this is really gonna be dumb, but I don't give a shit. Star vs. the Forces of Evil. It is a show on Disney XD. It is amazing. The third season, they just released a 1 hour special that was the first 4 episodes of the third season this year. Also, Stranger Things has to be another one, and I started watching. This is not really like my favorite, but I started watching Stand Against Evil, which has John C. McGinley in it, who is in Scrubs. He plays the Dr. Cox, I believe. And it's got a lot of issues, but it's honestly a really good show. Like, it's got some great one-liners. But I guess I'm going to say Stranger Things, iZombie, and Star vs. the Forces of Evil with the 100 coming in, because I still watch it. I always will watch it as long as Murphy is still around. And also, I want to see, I don't like Clark at all. I want her to die. I don't like Clark. It's the worst.
She's boring.
Yeah, she's very boring. Anyway, that's my recommendation.
All right. So, in closing, upcoming events, I'll go first because I just want to get this over with. I mean, like, I want to get my things over with. I have MagFest this coming weekend. MagFest is a video gaming and music convention. I don't even know if I want to call it a convention. It's like a festival. Funny side note, there's some random dude who was like posting in all the MagFest Facebook groups and events saying, like, if you're gonna cosplay as not a video game character, you shouldn't come to MagFest. And people are making memes about this guy. Like, just it's absolutely, like, people are making memes about how ridiculous it is that he's saying this. Meanwhile, I have like one video game cosplay, so whatever. So MagFest, yeah, that's this weekend. It's in like the DC area, National Harbor. It's the first time I've ever gone to this. It'll probably be the only time because their hotel situation is a goddamn mess. It's like worse than Comic-Con and Dragon Con, and that's saying something. So this is probably a once and only thing for me, but I'm sure I'll write some articles about it. I will write some articles about it. P.S. It is 9:30. That means that there is 2.5 hours to get your Ice and Fire Con 2018 tickets for $75. Or if you're watching this, and you want to go to Ice and Fire Con, you could just use the code IAF, the number 4 ever, to get your ticket for $70. So go to iceandfirecon.com, click on our like store link. It's in the bar at the top, and there's a coupon code field, and you put IAF, the number 4 ever, and you'll get a ticket for $70. She didn't hear that from me. But yeah, I mean, we still have tickets available, and they'll be on sale unless for some crazy reason we sell out, which we have a lot more tickets this year because of the size of our venue being a lot bigger than previous years. So the chances of us selling out are pretty slim, but also our tickets go up to $90 at midnight tonight. So if you want to go to Ice and Fire Con, I highly suggest you buy a ticket before midnight. And that's all I have to say about that. Anybody else?
Yes. So, a couple weeks ago, I just got approved for 2 panels for HawaiiCon. That's the local anime convention here in Hawaii that happens in spring of this year. Oh, I'll have to look at to see if it's April or May. It's one of the two. It's like right on the cusp of the 2 months. It's in spring of this year. I am doing the Yuri on Ice panel. And then I'm doing a general panel on queer representation in anime, and we've titled it The Gay Agenda.
I love that name. I love it.
So
this is the gay agenda you have been worried about before.
And so yeah, that's coming up in a few months. So I did my first panel just about a year ago, last spring, and now it looks like I'm doing panels at like every local Hawaii convention. So it's really exciting. I love doing it. So, and I thank you, Tara, for inspiring me to do panels. You were the inspiration for me to try it. So thank you for that, and I'm going to be trying to apply to do my first San Diego Comic Con panel, but I don't know if I'll be accepted, but
well, we'll work on it. We'll work on it together.
I'll see if I can do it.
I think the chance you can do it. The chances Comic-Con is weird about accepting people, so you have to like do everything just right. But we'll talk about it. We have knowledge. Yay.
We'll figure it out.
So Bekah, Farid, anything from you guys? Hello?
I don't have an event coming up, but I might write another book.
Yay!
I mean, I read 2 books this year. One was for positive psychology, how to live positively. The second book was an MM romance that had angels and ancient gods and paranormal beings. So yeah, I submitted a new manuscript to my editor. So hopefully a new book might be published this year, because it's 2018 here. So yeah, let's see what happens.
I still need to read your like Live Positively book. I literally do like really want to. So I need to. The problem is I'm always like 4 advanced reading copy books behind. I've got like 3 ones that I need to write reviews for before February. Go me. Bekah, what about you, babe?
I don't really have anything. I'm not really doing anything. I don't have any cons coming up until April. But South Carolina Comic Con, I have Ice and Fire Con, Mega Con, Dragon Con, Beach City Con. That's it. I'm sorry, y'all. Like this year has been really, really terrible, and like my muscle relaxers and my painkillers have worn off, and I'm just like, the year's just been miserable. But I'm not really doing anything exciting. I'm not publishing any books. I'm not doing any panels.
Yet it's literally
I know,
like,
but like
anything could happen still. There's almost no way that 2018 can be worse than 2017, right? Somebody please tell me that.
Don't say that, Tara. No, don't. You're gonna curse us all. Don't do it. 2018 is going to be terrible. It's going to be the worst year ever.
Yeah, sure. Yep. That's exactly what I'm saying. Okay. So, I guess like one of the sometimes we ask a question on these podcasts. Usually we forget about it and don't, but I like Farid's idea of asking like what our New Year's resolutions are. or even like geek related resolutions. So do you guys have any?
Well, quick thing. I think that this is not a resolution, but I think my co-host might be in the chat, and she just corrected me. The convention is in March. Yeah. So my panel co-host, I'm sorry.
No, don't be sorry. That's good.
I'm sorry. But anyway, my panel co-host, I'm doing it with another person, and I feel bad that I've forgotten her. But shout out to Dee, my panel co-host, who's over there. Anyway, I wrote an entire article with my New Year's resolutions. I feel like I should bring it up and just recite them so someone else maybe go and like pull up my article.
Yeah. If you go to the geekiary.com, like one of the is it under new? I think it's under news. And probably a couple other things as well. You can see Stephanie's geek, resolutions for the new year. Anybody else have resolutions? I'm really bad at resolutions.
I mean, I don't really I never do resolutions. I mean, it's always like lose weight, which ha. I know this is gonna sound really dumb, but I've been on birth control for 8 years, and I'm finally gonna go off of it to see if that will clear up some of my health problems. And I'm also going to start cutting out toxic people in my life, regardless of how close they are to me. That is something that I am going to have terrible makeup for. Yeah. But it's really probably not who you think it's going to be, Sarah. But yeah, because I had to deal with a lot of bullshit this year, especially after Dragon Con. Don't groan at me like that. I've already gotten rid of some people that I won't say their names on chat, but you fucking know who you are. But no. So I refuse to be treated any less than I should be. Like, I'm fucking tired of it. So, especially leading in this year, whatever.
Yeah, I don't usually make resolutions. I think if I was going to make one for next year, it would simply be to take care of myself better, and by that I mean get my ass out of bed in the morning. And I never have had a problem with working out, but I have a herniated disc, and I've been kind of laid up from that for the past couple of months. So I am finally not in constant pain. It's still an issue. Like I still feel some twinges and stuff. I can't run the way I used to, which is upsetting because I love running. But yeah, my New Year's resolution is just to kind of take better care of myself and be more positive. I'm not a positive individual. I really am not. I actually am more hilarious when I'm negative. So I want to be able to be funny without being a bitch. And that's really hard for me. So I guess that's taking better care of myself is kind of like I do take good care of myself. I want to take better care of myself, fine, whatever. But I think being funny without being a bitch is really difficult for me. So that's probably my New Year's resolution.
Got my article pulled up. Okay, number 1, see every Marvel film, but also see a non-blockbuster or franchise film too, because non-blockbuster franchise films are important. So support the non-blockbuster and franchise films because there's so many good films out there that just get ignored because they're not Star Wars or Marvel or DC. So support those. Number 2, don't feel guilty about watching TV shows for their anniversary. Don't feel guilty for watching a show because there's peer representation or because it's a female lead.
Stephanie, your voice is like cracking up a bit.
I know.
Yeah. Can everyone else hear it?
It's like it's not even breaking up. It's like That's weird.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. I don't know what the issue is. It's weird. I think it's probably your internet connection, and it's probably all those fireworks.
No, maybe I should just not go over it.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Go over it and go over it quick, and we can always add the link to your New Year's resolution article in the YouTube.
Yeah, I'll add it. I'll add it in the description.
Oh, okay. Perfect.
Number 3, don't the shows that upset me. Like The Walking Dead. And number 4, take a break from politics. Because it's just too much sometimes. And it's important to stay in the know, but sometimes I just need a full 24 hours to not be in the know. And that's okay to take a full 24-hour break and just not know what's going on and just focus on something fun. So those are my 4 New Year's resolutions. Yay! And that's my article. And I'll put a link to it. There you go.
Yeah, we could hear what you were saying. It was just like, it was like weird. I blame Hawaii internet, and having been to Hawaii, I know how bad the internet can get there.
It sounded like you were talking into a fan.
Yeah. No. Don't make that face. It's fine. Okay, so this is it. It is like 9:41, and this is 41 minutes longer than I was some months ago. So we're gonna end this. I am Tara. I'm here with Admin Angel, Bekah, and Farid. Thank you guys seriously for being part of this. I didn't want to go out tonight. I went out to dinner earlier, but like I didn't want to go out tonight. I am too old to be like celebrating New Year's Eve at a bar. Fuck that shit. So thank you again for joining us for Feelings with the Geekiary, whether you're watching it live or watching it tomorrow or the next day or whatever. Remember, we are a free webcast. Run off donations from viewers like you. So thank you for contributing to our host site, the Geekiary. P.S. The easiest way to do that is to go to patreon.com/the Geekiary. / the Geekiary. So thank you for contributing to our host site, the Geekiary. And we will see you in January of 2018. Farid, you don't count. We're nixing you. We'll see you next year. Thank fucking God 2017 is over. Can we get a general like, woo? Please, woo! Stephanie, unmute yourself. Stephanie, unmute yourself. We're waiting for Stephanie. Yeah! Fuck 2017. Fuck this year. It is done. And in 2 hours and 17 minutes, it is like literally done on the East Coast. So thank fucking God. Goodbye forever 2017.
Goodbye forever.
The end.